Richard Nixon's life is a study in contrasts: brilliance and paranoia, ambition and vulnerability, triumph and scandal. By the time he became the 37th President of the United States, Nixon had already navigated some of the most challenging paths in American politics. Yet it was a single scandal, Watergate, that ultimately overshadowed his many achievements and redefined the public perception of political power in America. Born on January 9, 1913, in Yorba Linda, California, Nixon was the second of 5 children in a modest Quaker family. His upbringing instilled values of discipline, frugality, and persistence, traits that would serve him well in the political arena. Nixon's early life was marked by academic excellence. He excelled in debate and history, displaying a sharp intellect that often set him apart from his peers. After high school, he attended Whittier College, graduating in 1934, and then earned his law degree from Duke University in 1937. Nixon's early career was defined by public service. He worked as an attorney in private practice before joining the Navy during World War II. His military service, though brief, exposed him to leadership and strategy in high-pressure situations. After the war, he returned to California, where he entered politics as a Republican, quickly distinguishing himself with a reputation for rigor, intelligence, and tenacity. In 1946, Nixon won his first political office as a U.S. representative from California. His aggressive stance against alleged communist influence in government, including his prominent role in the House Un-American Activities Committee, earned him national attention. He cultivated a reputation as a fierce anti-communist, a stance that resonated with a country still wary of Soviet influence after World War II. By 1950, Nixon ascended to the U.S. Senate, where he continued his anti-communist crusade, most famously confronting Alger Hiss in a high-profile espionage case that cemented his public image as a defender of American values. Nixon's rapid rise culminated in his selection as Dwight D. Eisenhower's vice president in 1952. During this period, Nixon honed his skills in national politics, foreign affairs, and public communication. His checkers speech in 1952, delivered in response to accusations of financial improprieties, showcased his ability to appeal directly to the American public, a tactic that would define much of his later political career. By 1960, Nixon had secured the Republican nomination for president, facing John F. Kennedy in one of the closest and most consequential elections in U.S. history. Despite a strong performance, particularly in the first televised debates that revolutionized political campaigning, Nixon narrowly lost to Kennedy. For years later, however, he returned to the political stage, winning the presidency in 1968, capitalizing on a platform promising law and order amid a turbulent era marked by civil unrest, the Vietnam War, and shifting cultural norms. Nixon's presidency is often remembered for its foreign policy achievements. He opened diplomatic relations with the People's Republic of China in 1972, a bold and historic move that reshaped global geopolitics and demonstrated Nixon's strategic acumen. He also pursued détente with the Soviet Union, negotiating arms control agreements that temporarily eased Cold War tensions. Domestically, Nixon implemented significant policy initiatives, including the creation of the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, and reforms to social welfare programs. Yet, Nixon's tenure was marred by paranoia, secrecy, and political maneuvering that ultimately led to his downfall. The Watergate scandal, which began with a seemingly minor break-in at the Democratic National Committee headquarters, escalated into a full-blown constitutional crisis. Nixon's attempts to cover up the administration's involvement eroded public trust and ignited investigations that revealed extensive abuses of power. By August 1974, faced with almost certain impeachment, Nixon resigned from office, becoming the first U.S. president to do so. Despite the ignominy of his resignation, Nixon's post-presidential years were surprisingly productive. He traveled extensively, advising foreign leaders and engaging in diplomatic initiatives, particularly in China and the Soviet Union. Nixon also authored multiple books on foreign policy, sharing insights from his unique perspective as both a world leader and a political strategist. Over time, historians began to reassess his achievements, acknowledging the complexity of his legacy. A man capable of both remarkable diplomacy and profound ethical lapses. Nixon's personal life was deeply intertwined with his political career. He married Thelma Pat Ryan in 1940, and together they raised two daughters, Tricia and Julie. Pat Nixon was a stabilizing force in his life, often mediating his intense temperament and supporting his political ambitions. Nixon's Quaker upbringing remained a subtle influence, shaping his disciplined approach and moral framework, even as he struggled with ethical compromises in office. As of January 20th, 2026, Richard Nixon is remembered as one of the most complex figures in American history. His presidency serves as a cautionary tale about the corrupting influence of power and the fragility of public trust. At the same time, his foreign policy achievements and domestic reforms reflect a leader who was capable of significant positive impact when strategy outweighed personal fear or political insecurity. The enduring fascination with Nixon lies in the duality of his life. He was a visionary diplomat and a cunning political operator, capable of extraordinary achievement, yet vulnerable to human flaws. Watergate remains the defining narrative of his presidency, but it is only part of a larger story that includes resilience, intelligence, and a lasting imprint on American politics. In the end, Nixon's life embodies the tension between ambition and accountability, a reminder that political power carries both opportunity and peril. Historians, political analysts, and the public continue to study his life not merely to understand a single presidency, but to explore the broader lessons of leadership, trust, and the human dimensions of political authority. Richard Nixon's story remains timeless, a narrative of genius and hubris, of strategic brilliance and personal vulnerability. It captivates because it is, at its core, the story of power in America, how it is attained, how it is wielded, and how it can be lost in a single moment.